All right. Hello, you guys. Welcome back to another episode of Sip and Talk with Miss Londa. Today, I have a great guest joining me today. I have Teeta joining us today, and Teeta is going to be sharing her journey and what she has been going through since losing her son to the system. So, without further ado, let's welcome Teeta to the platform. Hi, how are you?
Good, how are you?
Good. Thank you for joining. All right. Can you tell us, so I know that you're not from Minnesota, correct? Can you
That's
tell us
correct.
where you're from?
I'm originally from Rhode Island. Grew up there most of my life.
Okay. And how long have you been here?
2 years, September 1st.
Okay. Okay. All right. All right. And so what is your little one's name?
Asher.
Asha?
Yeah.
All right. And how old is he?
He turned 1 year old September 22nd, so
Okay.
Sunday.
Okay. All right. All right. And so you lost your son to the system. Can you kind of tell us how that came about?
Yeah, at the time before I even had my son, I was staying with his supposed to be father, and we ended up getting into it, ended up getting into a physical fight. He ended up kicking me out. I ended up going to stay with my friend. So at the time, I was pregnant, sleeping on my friend's couch. And then I got a job after he was born. I loved it. Got a second job. Me and my employer. Can I say his name? Yeah.
Yeah, you can say
And
his
how
name.
old is he? Got a second job.
I'm sorry about that.
It's all right. His name's Damone. We became very close. We was working at a senior living. I was working at the senior living. He was just like very understanding of my situation, how I had nobody in Minnesota. So he was just like, if you didn't have a babysitter, you could bring him to the job site. And if it's too busy, I could take him home when I leave at 4. And that just like it slowly became a routine. So it's just like he started to create a bond with my son. And he was like, to me, I looked at it as him looking out for me because he's helping me stay financially stable and helping me at the same time so I could stay financially stable by watching my son while at work.
Right.
Um, then it got a little bit more further than that. Like on the weekends, he would express, like, you're so young. I want you to go out, have fun. We could take him for the weekend. And by the time he already spent Christmas, he spent Thanksgiving, so they were already really close. My son was about like 5 months, 4 months at the time. So everybody was just, I was fine with that. I didn't feel any weird situation. But I started feeling too overwhelmed. I was working 60 hours a week. I couldn't, all my paychecks was going to helping my friend pay for, keep up with her rent and buying the stuff my son needed. And then that's when postpartum hit really hard and I wasn't mentally there to take care of my son. So I asked a few family members if they could help me out and just like watch him for a few months until I got on my feet. Everybody just looked the other way. So it was just like I had nobody to turn to. So one day I ended up, my friend ended up giving me some of her antidepressants. So I ended up taking it and I just realized it wasn't for me. And my body went through this withdrawal. I don't know what happened, but my body went through this withdrawal. My former boss claimed he found fentanyl in my purse, blue fentanyl pills in my purse. He kept that secret with him for 2 weeks, almost 2 weeks, until he decided to call CPS. When I told him I'm going back to Rhode Island because that's the only support system I had was in Rhode Island. So he ended up calling CPS, said I was high off fentanyl at work. I never bring enough diapers when he watching him. So he just came up with this big concoction. But before all of this, my boss offered me $50,000 to adopt my son. And I just, at the time, I just looked at it as like, oh, you love my son a lot, but like, I won't give you my son. So I offered to be a surrogate for him and his husband. So after all that, I told him I wanted to take my son back to Rhode Island. He called CPS. The cops came. They took his word over mine. And then I met this friend named Kane. He said, hey, since all this is going on, I could go over there to the police station, say I'm his father, and get your baby back. So we end up doing that. They wanted more. they wanted more proof and all this. So nobody signed my son's birth certificate. So I was like, hey, you could just sign the recognition of parentage, and then we get the ball rolling. I could get my son back.
Okay,
Everything
wait,
was
back up. Who can sign the parentage?
Kane.
Who?
Kane. His name's Kane. My friend. A friend I only knew for a month.
So okay, I understand. Okay, so let's just back up a little bit. So when the person went into your purse and said that they found the substance, how were they able to have access to your purse?
So in the kitchen where I work, there's a little office. That's where everybody be. So I just hung my purse right there in the office. So I didn't really think anybody would go in it. So I just hung it in the office.
Okay, so he alleges he finds this substance and then he reports it. Does he have something to show as proof?
Nope. He waits almost 2 weeks to report about the fentanyl being in my purse. So he waits 2 weeks, and then when I tell him I'm leaving to take my son back to Rhode Island, that's when he calls CPS and reports everything.
Okay, so then he calls CPS, and then what happens then? Does CPS come out and interview you and sit down and have a talk with you?
Yes, they do. Like 3 days later, they came, had a talk with me. At the time, me and Kane came up with this plan. I didn't have a place. He was losing his place. He said, tell them that you were using the fentanyl. They'll help you get housing. All you have to do is 30 days in treatment. Show that you're sober. And I'm like, it's going to be fine because my first UA already came out clean. So they're not going to ask you to do a lot. So just 30 days in treatment, and then they'll help you find housing. You get your son back in under 3 months. So I thought that was a good idea.
So that I have a clear understanding, he did actually find this substance? No. So this is where I'm lost. So if he didn't find this substance in your purse, why even say you had anything to do with this substance? Like, why even say, hey, yeah, I'm doing this, why?
On his end or my end?
Your end.
Because I was told that if I agreed to it, I would get housing and get my son back in under 30 days, more than trying to fight it and then having to do all this. So I was lied to, and because I don't know Minnesota's laws, I believe that person because they lived in Minnesota longer than me, and they said they know about the CPS, they know everything, so this is what we should do, and I just ran with what they said we should do.
And the friend's name was Kate. Is that
Kane?
Kane?
Yeah.
Okay, Kane's not a good friend. That was not good advice at all.
No, now he's trying to fight for full custody of my son.
Kane?
Yes.
Okay. All right, so once you admit this, then they just take your child from you?
My child was already taken from me at the time.
So when they took your child, when was it that they took your child? Was it immediately after this report of this substance?
Nope. My son was staying with my boss. So when I went to go pick him up, my boss called the cops and CPS and reported it. So I didn't get to take my son home with me that day. The cops said I didn't have right.
Okay, so was your boss babysitting, or had you given your boss some type of temporary custody?
Babysitting.
Babysitting. Okay, so your boss makes these allegations. You go to pick up your son. Mm-hmm. You're not allowed to pick up your son. So they handed your child over to your boss, like just said, hey, your child is staying here with your boss?
He was already there, so they left him there.
So were you explained your legal rights as a parent?
No.
Because do you also know that even if child protection steps in, you as a parent, if your parental rights have not been stripped, you still have say so, like, hey, I don't want my child here? Did you know that?
I didn't know that until after. So they sent me a letter saying I don't have physical custody, but I have parental rights of my son. So I didn't know that until after. And I'm glad you brought that up again, because now I'm trying to have my son removed from Kane's custody, and they're telling me they can't do that.
No. So have your parental rights been stripped?
Nope.
You have the right to say where you don't want your child. Let me tell you something. Being a mother of 4, And I have dealt with the system. I never had my kids taken from me, but I do know that it, just say if my kids were taken and one of my family members had stepped up and said, "Hey, I want to get those kids," and I would have said no, they would have had to leave my kids where they were at. They could not legally give my kids to them because my rights, I still have rights as a parent, whether they're in the system or not, if my rights have not been taken. And so I'm a little lost as to, admitting to something that bad, that just I don't know.
Me, the reason why I admitted to it was because I know throughout the UAs they're never gonna find any use in
Well,
me. So
when you admit it, you don't need a UA. So what you need to know is certain drugs stay in your system for a certain amount of time. Some drugs stay in your system for 24 hours, some drugs stay in your system for 48 hours. But you admitted it. You admitted to dealing with fentanyl when you're saying that you allegedly didn't. So that wasn't a good thing on your end to do. So now your son's in the system. How long has your son been in the system?
6 months.
So is what's going on now? Like, are there some things that they're asking you to do to get your son back?
I have done everything. I have my own place. I have a job. I've stayed sober. I've been giving you A's. I'm in therapy. I just signed up for my domestic violence classes. Everything I've done on that checklist, I have done. The only thing, no, I'm still on unsupervised visit, and that's what's getting me very upset because my son is in a shelter. This man has no job. He's in the streets every night with my son. My son is constantly sick, and they still feel like that's the right place to have him.
So do you have a support system here?
No, I do not.
And so when you met with the social worker, like they never handed you a pamphlet saying, "Hey, these are your rights," and going over that pamphlet and explaining to you. I have to keep asking this question because I know for a fact that as a parent, if your rights as a parent are not stripped, you have a right to say, "I don't want my child there."
Would it be different because he signed the recognition of parentage?
Well, yeah. So you basically, and why did you think that was a good idea? Can I just ask?
Honestly, I had nobody. I didn't know who to turn to. That was literally my last. My family all turned their backs. They didn't. Like nobody wanted to help me. And these complete strangers who I thought cared and just seemed so genuine at first really wanted to help me. There was just like they were trying to get me out of that funk. They were trying. So at the moment when I was looking at the situation, I was just like, these people really want the best for me. And it's just like now I find out this man is just using my son for housing. And
So if a person wants the best from you, they're not going to have you falsify documents to sign your child over. So what is the plan now? Like, what are they asking you? Is there a plan in place for your son to be back into your care?
we have a court. They went into court for in November to figure all that out. Right now, I'm just for the last 3 months. That's how it's been, just limbo. Me just waiting. I would reach out, emails, calls, voicemails, and I'll just wait and I'll just wait. I went to her office, my lawyer's office. She wasn't there. Everybody, the supervisor, her higher boss, nobody could speak to me.
So you have an actual court date?
Hmm.
Okay, so has anybody spoken with you to explain to you what's going to go on at this court date? What
Yep,
the
my mother
plan
did.
is as far as this court date?
Yeah, she said she's gonna try to push for like return custody back to me because of the situation, all the progress I've made since this case has been open. I've never tested positive for any type of drugs other than marijuana, which is legal. And so she's just that's what her plan is, to do everything by paperwork to see what she could get like far enough with paperwork until she has to bring it in front of a judge.
Okay, and then so let's go back to the parentage declaration. So have you admitted to the workers that you falsified that information?
Yeah, they did a DNA test, everything. They know he's not the dad.
And yet they still leave him in his care?
Hmm.
Okay. Um, okay, so you have your own place now.
Mhm.
What is your plan? Like, what do you have as far as what are you setting up as far as like when your child is returned back to you? Do you have childcare set up? What type of support system do you have set up for the return of your child?
To be honest, I don't, and it kind of scares me. It really does because I know I have one strong my partner who's going to be here with me regardless of any situation. But like they like, yeah, I don't have anything set up. Like I'm ready, but I'm not mentally ready.
So when you say you're not mentally ready, I'm a little confused. When I first talked to you, it sounded like your child was taken from you based on false allegations.
Correct. Yes.
But I didn't know that you admitted to these false allegations. Number one, I didn't know you falsified fake paperwork saying someone was the father and they weren't.
No, was it? Yeah.
So, do you really want your child back?
Of course.
So, when I ask you, like, what is your plan? Like,
Like I'm gonna keep like working. I already have all my classes, my therapy every week, my cognitive behavioral therapy, my domestic violence classes set up. I Thursday I go to my outpatient therapy also. So everything that they asking me to do, I still been up with. I do my mom classes when I have when I have my supervised visits with him. Um, yeah,
okay. And how long has it been since he's been out of your care? You said 6 months.
6 months. Yes,
Okay. All right. So the worker you're working with, is it a male or female?
it's a female.
How is she? How does, is she supportive? Does she want to help you get your son back?
No, she doesn't want to help me get my son back because I sent her my assessment saying I don't need outpatient August 29th. They could have put it in court and had me unsupervised. She hasn't done that. It's very hard to get in contact with her, and when I do, it's for little time.
Can I ask you, in dealing with this situation, what have you learned from this situation?
Not to be so naive, to have a backbone, because this whole thing, everybody sees me as like a child. I always put my emotions. I wasn't really strong in what I said and when I mean it. So it's just like being firm and resilient, having that fight, and I'm not gonna stop because every time something bad would happen, I would emotionally just break down and just like she's emotionally unstable, and that's how they started to view me as a little kid. And going, I wouldn't trust people. I would not trust people anymore.
Do you think that you would be more protecting of your son?
Oh yes, I wouldn't just be willing to hand him out to everybody because not everybody has the best interest. I would definitely always be honest about everything, regardless of the situation, how bad it is. Because just that one lie ruined everything, and now I'm trying to tell the truth now, but it's a little too late to tell the truth because that one lie just blew out of proportion.
Okay. So, because you said you work,
Hmm.
you have your own place, and you said you work. Do you have childcare in place for when your son is returned back to you?
No, I do not.
So, how do you plan to solve that issue?
Overnights.
You still need childcare though. When you even whether you work days or overnights, you still need childcare in place. So, how do you plan to handle that?
Find a daycare.
Have you tried applying for childcare through the state? I know they do have subsidy childcare.
No, I haven't. See, I'm not known to all these resources. So like I Like there's a lot of resources out here that I'm not known to. So probably just go find a daycare and just pay out of pocket, not knowing that there's all these resources.
Daycare could be pretty expensive. I don't know how much you make on your job, but working with a worker, if the goal is to bring your son back home to you, that worker should be helping you line a lot of that up and make sure that you don't have to face this issue again.
So she don't really communicate with me. She more communicates with his foster dad. So I'm the last to know anything. Like he did start daycare today, and I didn't know that, and they knew this information for 2 weeks. So it's just like anything that's going on with my son. That's why I want more of a backbone to be able to speak up more.
Okay, you mentioned a lawyer. What is the lawyer doing for you?
She's saying that she's pushing all the paperwork in to get me my rights back. That's all she said.
Has she tried to reach out and find resources to help you basically make sure that you have stability with your son? As far as you already said, you have your own place, you have a job, but childcare is the most important thing. I mean, whether you work days or nights, you have to have childcare. Because I mean, I don't know, you have to have childcare. You know what I'm saying? So even if you work nights, what would have been the difference in working nights and days? What was going to be the difference?
So at nights, my significant other would be here, and I would work overnights and then come in the morning. And then he would work in the mornings, and then I'll have my son throughout the whole day.
Okay, so your significant other, how long have you guys been together?
2 months.
2 months, and you trust him?
Yeah.
2 months, you trust him? Do you think that's why the worker is probably not really taking you serious?
No, she doesn't know about my personal life like that.
No, but you mentioned that people look at you like a child, like you make child decisions. Do you think that, you know, you do make child decisions?
Yeah.
Because I mean, you don't know this person, you just met him, you said you've only been with him for 2 months, and already you just kind of went through the same situation with someone else, and you trust to leave your son overnight with this person?
I do, because there's stuff that we shared and said that it's just more than yes, I do. I do. He's seen my son. He's seen my son. So it's not just a complete stranger to him. My son isn't just a complete stranger.
Okay. So I do see that there are some questions from people that are tuning in. Okay. She asked, how old is your son?
He's 1 year old.
Oh my goodness. I don't know. Okay. Okay, come on now, Teeta. What's the plan, boo? They really want to know. Like, what is your plan? You need to have a solid plan. As a mother who's fighting for her child back and doesn't want to lose her child again, you need to show these people that you really want your child back. So, have you lost your rights?
No, I haven't.
Okay. Words is different from actions. That's true.
I have been showing a lot of action, actually. I've been doing a lot more than said. I've been doing a lot because from now until from before till now, I had nothing. I had no place, no nothing. I have my own place, I have my own job. I'm staying sober. So yeah, y'all might think, oh, otherwise, but I've made a lot, tremendous progress in myself and how I react, how I respond. Don't let my emotions take over when. So yeah, I have made a lot. I have came a long way, and I do deserve my son back because 6 months Kane hasn't done nothing. Kane hasn't shown nothing for it. There's no stability at his. No.
So, why did it take 6 months? Why has it taken 6 months for you to get your son back?
Because they, when I first started, before they actually, it was court ordered for me to go into treatment and do all this. I went into treatment. Treatment wasn't it. I told them I need more mental health. I need therapists. They kept on putting me in treatments with addicts, and drugs was being brought in. My roommate brought drugs in. Our room got raided. Everybody got kicked out. So, and then I came to another program, Evergreen, and end up getting closed for fraud, and we all just had to sit there and wait until what was next. Everything's just been a waiting game. So I've been doing everything they've been asking me to do, down to go into treatment, everything that they've asked me to done, I've complete, check by check by check by check.
Okay. So you mentioned them putting you in a program with addicts. You do realize you admitted to taking
Yeah.
fentanyl, correct?
Yeah,
Okay.
of course. But I eventually let them know, like, the truth, what was really going on, and they.
So are you complying with your treatment plan?
Yes, I've completed everything on my treatment plan. This is why I'm frustrated.
Is this your significant other?
Yes.
Okay. Well, hi, significant other. All right. So before we get out of here, what is it that you would like to tell the viewers? What is it that you would like people to know about Teeta?
Teeta went through a lot. Teeta's still going through a lot. Teeta has a lot of trauma that she has not healed from. And just sitting here telling me I don't have a plan. I never grew up with a plan. Nobody ever taught me how to save. Nobody taught me the things of adulting, of being a adult. So now I'm going through it. It's hard because I was never taught that throughout my whole entire life. I've been a system baby my whole entire life. So the system raised me. They didn't do a good job, because now my son's in the system and I'm trying to take my son out so he don't have to go through what I went through. So everybody's just saying I don't have a plan. You're right. I don't have a plan. I I'm asking for help. This is why I'm here. And then when this is this is why I feel people my age don't ask for help, because when they come on and ask for help, they feel like they're being judged and they feel like they're being attacked by people that they actually want help from. Yeah, come on, boo, what's the plan? Help me. I don't know what the plan is. I'm on here for a reason. I'm on here to get support and help, more than making it feel like you guys are attacking me and make it feel like I'm being. No.
So okay, so it's not about you being attacked, it's the things that you say. If you're fighting for your son and you're really serious about fighting for your son, when I ask you what's a plan, it shouldn't be I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like, you have to show people that it's not that people don't want to help you, but you got to show that you want the help and that you want to fight to get your son back. And if you get your son back, that you're going to continue to stay on the right path to keep your son. So it's not about that anybody is judging you. There's certain things that just don't, like, I myself would have never, if I knew that this person did not find this substance in my purse, I would have never admitted to this, regardless of what some goofy told me,
But that's the thing.
and then
You
lose
grew
my
up
child. Like,
differently. You
that just
grew up
doesn't
differently.
make sense.
You grew up differently. You had that stand front pulse. I didn't. You didn't have to go through what I went through in life and not being able to trust anybody, tell somebody. I didn't have that. So yeah, if somebody, I feel like I'm lost. I'm always I was always been the person that's put in a situation and I can't do nothing about it, and people around me control that situation. That's my environment. That's how I grew up living. Everybody else around me controlled my life. So when somebody else came up with, yeah, my son's taken away. This is my first baby. My son was just taken away from me. You said you know Minnesota? Sure, tell me, help me, give me the information I need. My son was just taken away from me. Please help me. He's like, all right, this is what we got to do. I'm going with it, because this is the first person that generally seems like they want to help me. Everybody else I asked, my own family turned their back on me. So yeah, if somebody tells me, hey, all you have to do is just, you know what, they're not going to find you fentanyl because your system's clean. They could pull your hair. They could do all this. All right, I'm going to go with it, because at the end of the day, I know they're not going to find nothing. So it's just going to end up canceling out. Everything's just, that's how I looked at it. I looked at it as
So listen, if you admit to something, they don't need the evidence because you just admitted to it. Are you understanding that concept?
Yes, but they had me continue on UAs and say stay sober, continue to remain sober. I've been staying sober. I've been remaining sober from the moment this case opened. I was sober. That's what I'm trying to, like, that's what he put in my head and made it seem like, oh, all you gotta do is continue showing these cleaning UAs, they're going to give you your son back, and that's not going to be an issue because you never used. And I'm like, that's a great idea because I never used, and it's going to be very quick because UA after UA after UA has been negative. No, so that's why I went with it, because I know at the end of the day, he says it's gonna only be 3 months until I get my son back. I'm gonna take those 3 months in treatment, stay clean, go through my UAs, and do what they have to do. But I didn't have nobody to tell me, oh no, this is what we're gonna do instead. Oh no, I didn't have that. I'm sorry that y'all grew up like that and having that type of mentality, not having everybody. I grew up with men taking advantage of me.
There's a lot of people who don't come from a lot of people don't come from so not so good backgrounds, but sometimes your motherly instincts also kick in too.
Yeah, my motherly instinct
automatically
become that. That was my motherly instinct. My motherly instinct was, would you rather sit here and fight this going on with a man, Damone, my boss, who said if I take this to court, he has millions of, this man is rich, so I know he could destroy me. This man telling me if I take him to court, he would definitely take my son, or simply this other man telling me, just tell him you did this, 3 months, stay sober, you're gonna get your son back. I'm doing that. I'm not gonna put myself through this. And oh no.
Okay, so the lawyer you're working with, the lawyer hasn't explained to you your parental rights either?
No, nobody explained nothing to me. Nobody. From the moment this whole case been open, I went into treatment immediately. 3 months of this whole thing, I was in treatment. After that 3 months I got out of treatment, I've been getting my life together. That's literally it. From treatment, exactly what they asked me to do. So you guys saying I'm not showing? Yeah, I am showing, because everything they asked me to do, get into treatment. Yeah. Now this is the time where I'm starting to find, hey, where's daycare? Hey, let me reach out. This is why I'm reaching out. This is why I need help. I need help to find these sources. I don't know because I don't know. Do you want me to sit here and lie to you? I really don't know what the plan is.
No, it's not about that I want you to lie to me. I'm asking questions for a reason, because you told me that your parental rights have not been taken. So you have the right to say, hey, I don't want my child with this person. Can you place my child into foster care until we have gone through everything that I need to do for my child to be returned back to you? Those are your rights as a mother if your rights have not been taken.
I have said that, and I have emails, I have text messages with my CPS worker and my attorney. My attorney was the one who advised me to go get a paternity to remove his name. So that's what I'm in the process of doing. But other than that, CPS is not going to remove him, nor what is the other people? Jermon, he works basic on Asher. Everybody on CPS and everybody is on Antonio King's side. They all think he's a good guy. He's a good spot for Asher to fit. Asher loves him. They don't want to move him. I expressed I want my son removed. Just last week, my son had a bad rash. I expressed to my CPS worker, I want him moved out of that place. And I could send you the text message. She's pleading me. She's begging me. I begged her. My son isn't going back. And she begged me, please let him go back. Like
do you think that they're going to give you your son back?
Yes, I 100% believe, because if they don't, what's the legal reason they don't have legal rights they have not to give me my son back? They asked me to do everything on the checklist. I did everything on the checklist. What is the real reason you guys are refusing to give me back my son? All my UAs have always been negative from the moment this case opened. There's no legal reason to actually have my son right now. Absolutely not.
Okay, well, would you like to share with the viewers the funding that you set up for attorney?
Yes, I have a GoFundMe set up for an attorney to get my son back. My head hurts. The link.
It's in the description of the video.
It's in the description of the video.
Okay, well, I would like to thank you for joining and sharing your story, and I wish you the best of luck on your journey in getting your son back. I will email you some resources and other people that you can possibly reach out that could possibly be help to you. And I just hope that you follow through with doing everything you need to do to get your son back.
All right, thank you.
All right, so I would like to thank everybody who tuned in, who jumped in the comments. You guys, that's going to bring the show to an end. You all guys have a good evening. Thank you.